What's going on, guys? Seth here from Team Union Seth, back as your coach of the Philadelphia Pharaohs for our Week 5 battle in Season 2 of the RPL. We are going up against the Emerald City Espeons this week. Currently, we are 4-0 with a +9 differential. The Espeons are actually 0-4 with, I believe, a -12 differential. So, this is a division matchup, so it's definitely going to be important moving forward in the season. So, if we can pull out a win, that would be really nice to stay undefeated as well as improve some differential and get another division win under our belts. So, I'm going to go over their team real quick. So let's look over here on the right. Boom. Their team is here. So they have the Jirachi, Gengar, Galvantula, Alomomola, Diancie, Type Null, Espeon, Tornadus Therian Form, Alolan Golem, Scyther, and Megalodios. So definitely some big threats here. I'm expecting this week for either Jirachi or Gengar to be scarfed. Just looking at what they do to my team. The Jirachi is nice for the Weavile, which outspeeds it naturally. It's decent for Rhyperior as well, and Sylveon. It can also help to outspeed the Infernape. If I'm not scarfed, Gengar outspeeds a lot of my team, including Infernape. It can hit it with a Psychic. So I expect one of those two guys to be scarfed. Megalodios is definitely a huge threat to my team. The Tornadus could definitely be a good bring. He's probably going to predict me to bring something like Scarfed Ape to combat a Scarfed Rachi, potentially the Latias, and maybe even the Tornadus. But that's not actually what I'm bringing this week. So definitely some threats on the team. Scyther is definitely an underrated threat in the league format. Very powerful, very fast as well. So that could potentially be something dangerous. In terms of bulk, it doesn't have a ton of great bulk. The Diancie, Alomomola, and Type Null are essentially his main ways of taking hits, and they can be taken down, rather decently by my team. So we're gonna get right into what I am bringing this week. So we have Frozone, our Weavile, with the Leftovers and Pressure, Pursuit, Knockoff, Icicle Crash, and Substitute, 32 in HP, 252 in attack, and 224 in speed with the Jolly Nature. This is meant to be our late game cleaner. Substitute's there just in case there's like a threat left, like the Latias or maybe a Scarf Rachi that I know Weavile can take out, but can't take a hit from. So that's what the substitute is there for. Leftovers just to make sure I'm staying healthy throughout the match. But like I said, the thing is our late game cleaner, as well as to potentially put some pressure on in the mid game as well. Next up we have Caesar, our Infernape, with the Focus Sash and Iron Fist, Taunt, Stealth Rock, U-Turn, and Fire Punch, 252 in attack, 4 in special defense, 252 in speed with the Jolly Nature. This is going to be our lead if we see the Galvantula. So if we see the Galvantula lead, I lead with Infernape. I go for a Taunt. Just trying to win the speed tie. If we don't win the speed tie, it is what it is. I do have Defog later on the team, as you guys will see. So if we don't get the taunt off first, it is what it is. But then we can always go for rocks. I can U-turn out. I can fire punch the Galvantula. It is what it is. So we'll see how that goes. But this is also here to put some decent pressure on his team. It's also meant help preventing hazards from other things on the team as well. So Infernape, pretty simple. Hopefully leading with it. I might lead with it even if we don't see the Galvantula, just to put on some pressure in the early game. But we shall see how that goes. Next up we have Stormbreaker, the Jolteon with our choice specs, and Volt Absorb, Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, Shadow Ball, and HP Steel. 72 in HP, 252 in special attack, 184 in speed with the Timid Nature. The speed allows us to outspeed the Tornadus Therian. With the rest max special attack, and then the rest into a little bit of bulk for HP. He doesn't have a ground type, so no Volt Switch immunities is really what I'm looking at, which is the main reason I decided to put choice specs on my Jolteon. This thing is very, very powerful. Firing off some really strong Volt Switches is going to be nice. It's my main counter to the Alomomola. If I get burned from Scald, it's not a big deal. Even if my specs gets knocked off, it's still not that big of a deal. But I'm really looking forward to some high-powered Volt Switches around this team. It outspeeds the entire team, barring any Scarfers. Shadow Ball is there for the Jirachi, as well as the Espeon and the Gengar. And then HP Steel is there for the Diancie if that wants to be a check for this thing. So just a real powerful wall breaker. It does really well against this team. Next up we have Iron Man, the Scizor, Assault Vest, and Technician, Pursuit, Knockoff, Bullet Punch, and U-Turn. 248 in HP, 8 in attack, 252 in special defense with the Careful Nature. This is our main check to the Gengar. Gengar has a really good matchup against my team. If it runs something like Sludge Wave, Shadow Ball, Psychic, it has a really good matchup, and it can do a lot of damage to my team. So I did have some troubles figuring out what I could use, what I could potentially use to take it on. And this is just my main check. So I can switch this thing in. We can take a Shadow Ball. We can actually take 3 Shadow Balls, I believe, without being knocked out. And then I can either Pursuit or I can knock off. I can potentially U-turn if I want. So might be expecting HP Fire. It's a potential, but it's not probable. And even if we see that, I can go into my Weavile and Pursuit that thing and get rid of it. So we'll see what happens there. But this is my main check to the Gengar, and it can also just help especially defensive against the rest of his team. Next up, we have Blue, our Sylveon with the leftovers and Pixelate, Wish, Baton Pass, Protect, and Hyper Voice. 248 in HP, 252 in defense, 8 in special defense with the Bold Nature. This is our main check to the Mega Latias. Definitely predicting Psy Shock just because of the Sylveon. Obviously, Draco doesn't affect me. So, looking to really get Hyper Voices off, or potentially Baton Pass out into something that can handle it better before the Latias gets up too many Combines or potentially Dragon Dances. This thing does a lot of damage to the Latias, so this is a really good check. And it's also just nice to have for a general bulky wall. Baton Pass is really nice to get some initiative, and to pass Wishes, potentially Protected there to get some lefties and get my own Wishes back, and then obviously Hyper Voice for damage. This thing also helps me take on Alomomola pretty decently as well. Last but not least, we have Imagine, our Noivern with the Expert Belt and Frisk, U-Turn, Dark Pulse, Hidden Power, Steel, and Defog, 16 in HP, 252 in Special Attack, 240 in Speed with the Timid Nature. This thing this thing also outspeeds the Tornadus Therian form. It could potentially U-Turn or Dark Pulse it. I don't plan on staying in or going for anything but U-Turn against the Tornadus. But U-Turn is there just for general initiative. Dark Pulse is there for things like Jirachi for Gengar. This team has a big Dark weakness, so that's definitely a common theme among my Mons. We can outspeed the Mega Latias if necessary. I was thinking about running Choice Scarf to outspeed a +1 Latias, but I didn't see it was too necessary. HP Steel is there for the Diancie if that thing wants to switch in. The Expert Belt is just for some extra damage. And Frisk is a really nice ability just to scout and see what happens for my opponent's team. And then Defog is there to get off a fast Defog in case those webs are up, or if any other hazards in general. So that is the team. I'm going to send the challenge. So the team is very scary. It's pretty scary offensively. So we're gonna see how my team can fare. But I think if I play properly, we'll be able to get around it. They did make some transactions. So they had Kyurem White and they got rid of it. Okay. So we see the Espeon, the Galvantula, Mega Latias, Torn, Alomomola, and Jirachi. So no Gengar, which is actually amazing. No Gengar, which is actually amazing. So we have the Espeon, Galvantula, Latias, Tornadus T, Aloe, and Rachi. Okay, so looking at this team, Galvantula lead is definitely has some potential. So does an Espeon lead. Honestly, I'm thinking Stormbreaker is not that bad of a lead. Because I could Volt Switch out of there, get a ton of damage off, or even Shadow Ball. Let me see how much Jolteon is doing to Espeon with a Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball has a chance to KO. I feel like that might be the play. I feel like he's going to lead with Galvantula, but I do have my Noivern, which switches in pretty decently to a lot of his team and can get off a fast Defog. How much merit does Caesar have in this game? I can always U-turn on the Espeon if necessary. Yeah, Infernape doesn't have like a ton of merit in this match. Could also lead potential Scarf Rachi. I'm gonna lead Ape. Only Defogger he has is the Lottie. So there's the there's the Rachi. So we can see if this thing is scarfed. We have the opportunity to see if this thing is scarfed, which I'm assuming it's going to be, especially because he didn't bring Gengar. Fire Punch is going to do a lot, and I can double into my Scizor if necessary if we do see that he is scarfed. Let me see how much Heart Stamp is going to do. Okay, so we're going to see if he's scarfed. We can live anything because we have the Sash. I'm just going to Fire Punch. So not scarfed. Defensive Rachi we see, and there's a T-Wave, which misses. That is unfortunate. That is so unfortunate. So let's see. Defensive with the lefties. And we see with a Thunder Wave. So at this point, I think I'm just going to taunt, because I don't think I'll be able to knock it out with the Fire Punch. So I'm just going to taunt. There's an Aloe switch, which is actually not bad. So the Aloe's taunted. So most likely we're going to see a Scalding coming here. And I'm just going to double into Stormbreaker, I think. Now let me double check. I just don't want to take too much damage with Stormbreaker. Yeah, Scald doesn't do too much, so I can put a lot of pressure on with this thing. So Stormbreaker it is. We see the Scald from the Aloe does 17%, I guess. And I'm very free to just Volt Switch out. It will kill this thing. Yeah. Volt Switch might not. Well, if it has a lot of SPDF bulk. But it should kill this thing. We'll see how bulky it is. But most likely we're going to see a switch here, probably either into one of the top three, so Espeon, Latios, or Galvantula. There's the Latios. So we switch in, or we go for the Volt Switch. Now I'm pretty free to go into my Weavile, and I think that actually might be the best play. How much is Knockoff doing? Knockoff, because I don't want to Pursuit in case he stays in. I don't want to risk that 50-50 just yet. Yeah, Knockoff doesn't do a ton. Icicle Crash also doesn't do a ton. I think Sylveon is just a better play right now at this point in the game. I want to save Weavile for later because it does do really well against his team late game. Can definitely put a lot of pressure on late game. So I think Baton Pass might actually be my play here. I don't want him switching. I don't want him staying in. Or I'm sorry, switching and getting initiative. But what would come in and take a Hyper Voice? That'd probably be the Rachi. Would probably be the Rachi. So I'm gonna B-Pass. Yep. So we see the Aloe come back in, and I can go back into Stormbreaker. And just go for another Volt Switch. I'm gonna keep chipping down that Latios. There's a Protect. You see Protect on the Aloe. I'm just gonna Volt Switch again. Yeah, so let's see what happens. I mean, he could switch back into Lottie. Definitely a potential play. The Espeon could be bulky. Really doesn't have a ton of answers to Jolteon in general. T-Bolt doesn't number a good number to the team. There's a Volt Switch. We do a lot of damage. That is a very specially defensive Alomomola. And I'm just going to double into Blue. There's a Wish. That was expected. And I'm pretty free to just Baton Pass. Predicting the switch. There's the Rachi. So I get to Baton Pass into whatever I want. I'm thinking a Stormbreaker might be a good play. And go for the Shadow Ball. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. We see the Wish, we see the Rachi get back the health. We don't see the leftovers from the Aloe. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. Lefties. I'm just gonna go for Shadow Ball. I'm gonna see how much damage we can do with this thing. We know it's defensive, so it shouldn't do a ton back to me. And I have other ways to deal with things like Aloe and Tornadus if necessary, just in case for some reason this thing goes down. I don't think a defensive Rachi is going to be able to take me out anyway, especially because I have some bulk investment. So, go for the Shadow Ball, still putting pressure on the team. Shadow Ball actually does really well against the Espeon, the Latios, and the Jirachi. It's 3 Psychic types. He brought 3 Psychic types to this, Wow, that is... There's a Shadow Ball. We do a lot. We get a crit, which is unfortunate. And a Spadef drop. There's a Zen Headbutt. Wow, that's... I feel bad. He's just getting hacked to everything. Zen Headbutt. I mean, Shadow Ball is just the play again. This is Tornadus. We do a decent chunk of damage. I'm actually going to calc that damage. Putting my phone on Do Not Disturb. We're going to calc that damage. Did about 26. So this thing's definitely bulky. Could be AV. I'm thinking it's AV. Nope, not Aspear Berry. Assault Vest. Yeah, definitely Assault Vest with some investment. I just want to double check his Z users. Did he not? I'm not sure why that's not updated. Unless he just didn't pick Z users. So, Sylveon's a decent play. So is, I think Noivern's a decent play as well. I'm just going to go into Sylveon. We're going to see what's going to happen. There's a U-turn, so we resist that. And there's the Rachi switch. From here, I'm just going to double into my Iron Man. If he stays in, I can Pursuit. There's an Iron Head. Now, I want to see how much, because this is a defensive Rachi. So I could either knock off, let's see a Pursuit. Scizor. Do the Jirachi. That's fine. Pursuit. I think I am gonna Pursuit. I know this isn't calculating what it actually is. Let's just say it's fully physically defensive. I'm doing 19 to 23 without, and then it will get doubled. So I am gonna Pursuit. Predicting the switch. There's a Fire Punch. We eat it. Don't get burnt. We get the Pursuit off. Does a little bit of damage. That is unfortunate. Yeah, I mean, I kind of expected the Fire Punch, but not like completely. Scizor is also not super useful in this matchup, but I kind of want to save it. Well, what would I save this thing for? I could get a Wish into it potentially, because Bullet Punch can be nice, Knockoff can be nice. So I'm just going to go into Imagine. Try to take the Fire Punch. And I can pretty freely just Dark Pulse. Or I could U-turn. U-turn's not going to take this thing out. Definitely not. So we see the Irachi's full set. I am going to U-turn because I don't think he's going to stay in with the Irachi. Yeah, so we see the switch. Going to Aloe. I can go back into Stormbreaker, put a ton of pressure on with this thing, Volt Switch out, which is super obvious, but I'm going to do it anyway. Protect, obviously, definitely expected, and I just get the Volt Switch. It's going to take this thing out. It does damage to anything else. I want to get my Ape in and get rocks up because there's so much switching going on. I definitely want to get rocks up. So I'm going to take any opportunity I can to do that. I do have the Focus Sash, so I can get rocks up pretty freely. We know the Rachi doesn't have rocks, which is nice. So he doesn't have any hazards except for potential Sticky Web from the Galvantula. So let's see what he wants to do now. I mean, he could switch into the Lottie again, but he's got to be careful of the Shadow Ball, which is definitely a possibility. I could potentially Shadow Ball here. So maybe like a Galvantula switch. Might even let this thing go down, which would be very unfortunate for him. He also doesn't know my Infernape set. All he's seen was Taunt and Fire Punch. That could be offensive. It could be defensive. You never know. So let's see what's going to go on here. I don't know why I'm like... I always get nervous for battles. I don't know why. I always get like cold or shaky. There's the Lottie. We go for the Volt Switch. See, I really want to get my rocks up, but it's just not the mon to do it on. So I am going to go back into U. I think Hyper Voice might actually take out the Rachi from here. 21%. Sylveon. If you have no Spadef bulk but your max HP, it won't take it out. It won't take it out, but I baton passed last time. I baton passed last time. I'm actually gonna wish. I'm gonna wish, seeing what's gonna happen here. So it's a pretty mid-ground play. There's the Mega Lottie. So I go for the wish. So we see Mega Lottie at +1. +1 Spadef. +1 special attack. We're gonna see a Psyshock. Does a decent chunk to me. Hyper Voice does a decent chunk back to you. We outspeed with the Weavile no matter what, so I'm free to Hyper Voice. There's a Surf. We take a decent chunk, so we see the Calm Mind and we see the Surf as well. So I think we're in an okay spot here. Calm Mind, Surf, and I'm pretty free to just Hyper Voice again, which is definitely the play. There's a Recover. There's a Recover we see. And, I could Baton Pass. I kind of just want... it's probably going to Recover again. And in that case, I'll bring her up to full. I think I still have to... I'm going to Wish again. We see another Recover. I kind of want to Baton Pass into Iron Man. Because we can take the hits. I want to try to see the full set though. So I'm gonna Hyper Voice. I want to see the full set before I do anything. I want to see if she has the HP Fire, or he, she, Latias, he, player. I want to see if he has the HP Fire on the Latias, because if he does, then that would be unfortunate for the Scizor. I am a Salt Vest Scizor, so I can take this thing on decently well. Knowing that it has Recover, Calm Mind, so it only has 2 attacks at the most. So it's got Surf and then something else. But I'm curious to see what that move is. So Baton Pass could be predicted here. Even so, like, if he wants to switch something in, Hyper Voice is going to be decent. Hyper Voice is decent anyway against the team. There's another Calm Mind as we get the Hyper Voice off. Dang. I'm gonna Wish again. We see another Calm Mind. I just need to get it low enough where Weavile can come in and take it out. I'm gonna B-Pass. We see a Surf. Tom Pass into my Scizor. We can take that. Now let's go into... Let's actually calc that damage from the Surf. Sylveon. We see Surf. So I want to know if it's potentially bulky or not. So we see a Surf at +3. So +3 Surf to Sylveon did 44.5. So that's not really invested. Okay. Yeah, it's not really invested, so it could be bulky. Could definitely be bulky. If we see the HP Fire, it is what it is. But I think I can chip this thing down with what I have on the team. I'd rather... I'm going to U-turn. There's a Surf. We live it. Can the U-turn take it out? It doesn't, but that allows me to bring in the Weavile. And potentially Pursuit. And take this thing out. So I'm just going to Pursuit. If he wants to switch, that's fine. Yeah, if we see a switch, that's fine. We get the Pursuit off. It's all good. But we get rid of the Mega Lottie. We handled that very well. Yeah, the Lottie's gone. If he switches out, he's gone. If he stays in, he's gone. We outspeed, no problem. Obviously can't be Scarfed, so we're good. We get rid of the Lottie here. And one big threat from the team is gone. So, we see Weavile kills Lottie with Pursuit. Killed the Lottie with Pursuit. Now let's see what he wants to switch in now. Probably something like the Aloe, potentially the Rachi. I don't think the Rachi would want to come in because I outspeed and I kill it. So that's not going to be a thing. Weavile already puts on extreme pressure here. So there's the Galvantula. I could potentially see a Bug Buzz or a Thunder. I don't want to go into blue because I think 2 Thunders might take it out. I'm going to go into Iron Man. I feel like I can sack Iron Man at this point. I don't think it's too critical in this matchup. Stormbreaker I still like because it does well against the whole of his team at this point. I can just Thunderbolt pretty much. So I am going to go into Iron Man. I can potentially sack it and bring in the Ape. There's a Bug Buzz. We live in. So we see the Bug Buzz from the Galvantula. And I can go for a Bullet Punch here. I think that's my best play. I think Thunder and just take this thing out is good. Let's just calc that damage real quick. Galvantula, Bug Buzz. Okay, so he's not offensive. We know that, not offensive. Probably like fast and bulky. Maybe something like that. Oh, that's with the Life Orb. Okay, so that looks about right. Maybe it doesn't have too much investment. Could have some. But 9.9, it could have just been a low roll. So I'm just going to BP, break a Sash potentially. Get that off. There's the Thunder. And we see Galvantula kills Scizor with Thunder. Alright, so now's my opportunity to go into Caesar, and I'm actually going to get my rocks up. Because if we see another Thunder, that's fine. I think the switch is pretty... this thing's probably sashed. So I could Fire Punch and get a kill potentially, or I could just Stealth Rock, and I think that might benefit my team more. I don't want him switching into the Espeon though, so I am actually going to Fire Punch. There's the Aloe. Alright, so that was just an over prediction. I just kind of thought too much about it. But I am going to get rocks up now, because I think that can be super useful for the team. So I am going to rock. The Espeon could come in. There we go. Okay, we get our rocks up, and we see the Toxic from the Aloe. That's fine, though. I'm not too concerned about that. And then I'm just going to U-turn out. I'm going to U-turn out, predicting a Scald. I'm going to go into Sylveon, because I know this thing can't do a whole lot to Sylveon. Okay, there's the Protect. It is what it is. So we've seen this thing's whole set. I'm going to U-turn again. And I'm going to U-turn into Sylveon. You know, the Toxic, that's fine. I'm not too concerned about that. I can get my Wish up. And Rachi is most likely the play. But I kind of just want to stay in Hyper Voice, which is actually what I'm going to do. So if we see the Rachi switch, we actually kill the Rachi with the Rocks and Hyper Voice. So I'm hoping that's the play. But either way, I get my Wish back, which is nice. And I want to keep Sylveon healthy. Can definitely help with the Galvantula. There's another Toxic. We Hyper Voice, get off some nice damage, and we get into blue. I'm sorry, we get our Wish back. So now I'm going to Baton Pass. There's a Scald. And I'm going to Baton Pass into my Stormbreaker. And I'm actually just going to T-Bolt. Because I think T-Bolt essentially cleans up his team at this point. It might not take out the Espeon. It probably won't take out the Espeon. Oh, wow, it does with Rocks. Okay, so I can just T-Bolt. There's a Protect. Specs Thunderbolt, I think, actually cleans up his team now. Barring any, like, Walk-On Berries, which the Torn could have, I guess. We didn't see an item on Torn, I don't believe. I'm just going to write Sash question mark on the Galvantula. Excuse me. Yeah, I don't believe we saw an item on the Torn. We just saw the U-turn. Excuse me again. So we're going to see what happens. His Thunderbolt takes this thing out, because Volt Switch did, like, what, 75 to it? So T-Bolt should do the rest. If not, we're living whatever he wants to go for. Toxic would actually be a good play if he can live, but I don't think he will be able to live the T-Bolt. T-Bolt pretty much just cleans up his team, I think. There's the Rachi. We get the T-Bolt off. You're gone. Jolt. Kills. Rachi. With T-Bolt. Now, I want to switch here. This thing could definitely be Scarfed. So I am going to switch into blue. And we're going to see what he wants to go for. There's the Gleam. There's the D-Gleam. And we see the Life Orb. So we see Dazzle. Dazzling Gleam. And the Life Orb. So we know it's not Scarfed. We can do a ton of damage with our Jolteon. I can go for another Wish and try to heal up the team. Or I can just go for Hyper Voice. I think Hyper Voice is actually just a play at this point. Actually, no. I'm going to go for the Wish. There's a Psyshock we live in. But I don't think we're going to live the Toxic. That's actually okay. So, we see the Psyshock. See the Psyshock. And we see Sylveon dies to Toxic from Aloe. That's okay. And I can just go into my Weavile. And we should be able to knock it out. I could just go for a knockoff. But I think that might be a little dangerous with the Aloe still there. A Pursuit is very obvious. I'm actually just going to go into Stormbreaker. How much did you do to Sylveon? And we're going to see Psyshock with the Life Orb. Did a good amount of damage. 44%. That's about right. So it's definitely offensive. So it's going to die to the T-Bolt. Come back into Jolteon. T-Bolt again. I just didn't want to risk it being Scarfed and taking off the Jolteon. Because Jolteon, I mean, it's kind of my win con at this point. I need to get rid of the Aloe in order for Weavile to finish the game. So, yeah, I need to get rid of the Aloe in order for Weavile to win. Jolteon can also potentially win. I don't think the Galvantula is Scarfed. Did we see it outspeed me? No, we didn't see it go for anyone. So, Jolt kills Espeon, and we get our health back. Espeon with T-Bolt. I get the Thunderbolt again. There's a Protect, pretty obvious. Another T-Bolt. So he wants to go for. I mean, Jolt pretty much wins this game from here. Jolt pretty much wins this game. T-Bolt should take it out, but even if not, I'm at basically full health. So, I'm not too concerned. We're in a really good spot. I think we have this game pretty much in hand. Again, I think 2 T-Bolts, no matter what, takes out the Galvantula. I don't think 1 will, but I'm pretty sure 2 will. I'm not even going to worry about calculating it unless it comes up. Just because I have potential answers if I need it. I mean, Jolteon can take a Bug Buzz. We have a little bit of bulk. It can take a Bug Buzz if necessary. If it's Scarfed, it's Scarfed. It is what it is. Then we go into Noivern, so we can play around that if it's Scarfed. But we're in a good spot here. I think he's got to let this thing go. All right, Jolt kills Aloe. Jolt kills Aloe with T-Bolt. There we see this thing. It could definitely be Scarfed. Can Torn do anything to me? Could also be AV, which I think we might have determined it was. I don't remember exactly. But let's just see if it's Assault Vest. And are you at full health? No, you took rocks damage. Assault Vest. Let's just say worst case scenario. Boom. Jolteon. Thunderbolt still does a lot. I don't think he can do enough to me. There's a T-Bolt. Take it out. Jolt. Kills. Torn T. With T-Bolt. And we go for a couple of Thunderbolts, and I think this thing will be gone. One Thunderbolt does the job. Jolt. Kills. Galvantula. With T-Bolt. Alright. Alright, so pretty good game. I feel like I managed my Mons really well. I managed the potential sacks really well. I identified the win con in Jolteon at the end there, or at least needed to keep Jolteon alive to take out the Aloe. And then Weavile could potentially come in and sweep. But I think overall, I did a good job managing the team. I think something I've struggled with in the past is handling setup. So like when my opponent sets up, I'll kind of just start to panic a little bit and sack things off left and right and trying to figure out what to do. I think I did a really good job of managing the Mega Lottie setup and not losing anything, not losing any mons to that. I think I did a really good job with that. I identified that I didn't need the Scizor anymore, so I could let that go down, and it was useful. It was very useful with the Lottie. So I'm very happy with how I played that overall. Sylveon didn't need to be around at the end there because I knew I had the Jolteon, I knew I had Weavile potentially. So I think I did a really good job just managing my team and what my opponent was doing, and then identifying the win cons and Jolteon and then potentially Weavile if there was no Aloe left. So that's about it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Feel free to comment down below. Let me know what you thought of the team and of the battle in general. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.